Hello, hello. Welcome back, my friends. Welcome to another session of Write with Me. Let's write. Let's write together. Yeah? A little accountability. Accountability, community, all the fun things, all the lovely things, right? So, if this is your first time joining us for one of these, well, I've only done one before, so it may very well be your first time joining us for one of these. The goal of this next hour is to do some writing and to do it together with me on the screen. I'll be here for you. I'll also probably be talking and singing and doing things along the way. And so I've got a goal for the hour. Hopefully, you also have a goal for the hour, and you can be here, do creative time, just be in community with us, chat in the chat, whatever floats your boat. So, what do we have today? Hi. If you're joining for the first time, you don't know me. I'm a musical theater writer guy. True, that is who I am. I'm Michael Ratty, aka musical theater writer guy, aka your musical theater writing coach. So welcome to the channel if this is your first time being here. I'm the founder of Musical Theater Writing Collective. I teach courses, I coach. Obviously, I write musical theater, writing a book about writing musical theater, creating like a comprehensive, in-depth video course on musical theater writing that's going inside the collective, all sorts of fun things. If you're returning, hi friend, welcome back. So, what is my goal for this hour this week? Such a good question. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I've got a task that I've been ignoring. So one of the musical projects I'm currently working on, because I always have multiple going at once, and I always strongly suggest to people that they have multiple going on at once, so you can move back and forth between them, especially if they're different and at different stages. So one of the shows I'm working on, we wrote a new song for it recently, and we have the lyrics, we have the melody. I did write out the accompaniment for the first chorus. It's a 32-bar chorus song, but I haven't fleshed out the rest of the music, so I have to do that today. That's part of what I'm doing in this hour is writing music, fleshing it out, turning it into actual accompaniment for an entire song, and not just, oh look, Michael, you wrote a pseudo accompaniment to one chorus. Also, there's a dance break, and I got stuff to figure out. So, gotta do that. And I also have to alter the melody in a different song for a different show. So, that's what I'm gonna be working on this hour. Whatever you're working on, please let me know in the chat. Put in the chat whatever you're working on. And if you're just here to hang and chat in the chat, and talk to each other in the chat, be in community. That's also cool. If you want to ask questions while we're here this week, like during this hour, I will be checking in. I'll read the comments. I will answer questions to the best of my ability. You're a wonderful distraction and procrastination tool for me. Because yes, I should be writing these things, and I will. And also, I mean, if I happen to see questions in the chat and I can pop in, that's great. Before I get started into my writing, as you write down what you're going to be working on, I did also want to mention that next week is going to be the beginning of the Write Great Songs Easily Songwriting Challenge. So if you knew me a year ago, which I've had a lot of new subscribers in the past year, and welcome, thank you for being here. So maybe you don't know me, but last year I did this challenge for the first time and it went great. People really enjoyed it. It was lovely being community together. Because writing songs for musical theater is easy until you have to make them great. Then it's hard. And there's a lot of reasons for it, but a lot of people who come to me, they just get stuck in the process because it's like what they're writing is not meeting the quality of what they want, or it's not doing the work that they need to do within the story, or they're just having a hard time finishing a draft. Anyway, so I'm running this challenge again, and the curriculum is slightly different than last year. It is going to be the 4 full days. Last year, I said 3 and then we extended it to 4. So we're just going to do the 4 days this year. So that's next week. If you want to sign up for it, it's free. All you need is your email address. You can click the link, the first link in the description, and you can sign up for it. Come join us. It'll be lovely. So it starts next Wednesday. It'll be Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday. Those are the days for the challenge. And you will be writing a song along the way. We'll do some curriculum. We'll do the songwriting challenge. If you want to meet some people and potentially do some collaboration, I strongly suggest come and do this. write a song with someone. Why not? Experiment, try it out. Never hurts to practice more songwriting and to meet more people. Um, yeah, Carrie, it can be overwhelming. Absolutely, it can be overwhelming. Sometimes, honestly, I still find it overwhelming. It depends on what I need it to do. And if it feels like a high stakes moment in a show, and I need this song to just like nail this moment, feels like a lot of pressure, which is why I fall back on my frameworks because the frameworks work, which is great. And then revising from there and making it as good as possible, polishing, revising. Anyway, so that challenge starts next week. Come join us. It's free, it's fun. Day one will be live on YouTube. So I'm not going to do my normal live stream next Friday because we're doing the live on Wednesday, just so you all know. So come join for that. And then the other days will be live as well, but they'll be on Zoom. So you can be in the room with me and be face to face. You can ask questions with your voice. It's a little less uh, divided out, right? It's nice to be in the same Zoom room. But you do have to sign up with your email to get the emails, to get the Zoom links, and also the replays. So enjoy this. Yeah, anyway, so if you weren't here when I said what my goals were for this week, I am writing the accompaniment to a song I've been procrastinating on. I do have one course worth of accompaniment. I just have to flesh it out. And then the other thing I'm doing today is tweaking a melody for a song in a different show that I had a shower thought today about. I was like, oh, that would prevent it from feeling repetitive and boring. So I'm going to quickly put that in, and then I'm going to go and flesh out my accompaniment. So what are you working on? Put it in the chat. Let me know what you're working on today. I'm very curious always. And again, feel free to toss questions or thoughts in the chat. Feel free to talk to each other in the chat as well, just in case I'm not looking up at the time that you write something. Um, yeah, anyway, so it's hours for us. Let's chill, let's write, let's chat, let's be in community. It's fun. All right, I'm going to start by adjusting that melody. Now that I know what's up, I think I have to check it on the piano. Now that I said that. Should probably check this against the lyrics too, right? Yeah. Yeah, it works, but yeah, let's check that against. I need to shrink this Zoom screen. Zoom, 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 zoom. Nobody's told me what they're working on. What are you guys working on? You don't even have to set an accountability moment. I mean, I'd love if you set an accountability moment, but I'm also gonna move you over here so I can see you better. Well, I have Sibelius open. So but let me know what's the project you're working on. I'm curious about that too. I'm curious about your project. Hello, my friends. I sing everything in my life. I would apologize, but I won't. Mm, where are my lyrics? Lyrics! And truly, don't feel like you're interrupting me if you have a question and you just want to ask it. That's totally cool. I'm happy to answer things today as I do stuff. What stuff are you doing? Tell me. That sounded creepy. I didn't mean for it to sound creepy. My apologies. Ba-da-da. What song number is this? This is song number 10. Oh, I like that better, I think. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, that melody changes the answer. Oh, we stan. Carrie, a private piece of my life experiences on the streets of Hollywood in the 90s called Boulevard Dreams. Ooh. Oh, you've got my interest peaked. Tell me more. I mean, you don't have to tell me more right now, but you can book a call with me and tell me more. Or join us in the collective and tell me more. I want to know more. Mmm. Isn't it so interesting writing musicals based on life experiences? Um, one of the shows, well, actually, technically, both the shows I'm writing are based off of life things. So with one of the shows, it is like based on a couple of facts that are true from my life. With the other show, it's like a lot of facts that are true about my life. And yet the characters, the world, the premise, the framework, none of that's actually me, but a lot of my story is in it. It's so interesting. And I find that fascinating to walk that line between writing a show that is your show and like your life story as a show versus writing something that's based on it, but it's clearly fictionalized and lives on its own. I find that very interesting. They do indeed say right what you know. It's true. Every single show I've ever written is based on me in some way, shape, or form, and at various parts of my life. Should actually probably do a video about that at some point because I think it's worth talking about. I do have people ask me sometimes, like, does that mean I have to write my life story? I'm like, no, no. There's lots of ways for you to take what you know in your life and things you're interested in and put it into a show that has nothing to do with you. Maybe I should do a video on it. Anyway, thank you for sharing, Carrie. What else are y'all working on? All right, I'm gonna also adjust this melody now. I like this. Let's find out if I like this. What do you guys use to substitute out the MIDI voice sound in your chosen notation software? My collaborator, well, I say my collaborator, I have so many freaking collaborators. Uh, freaking in a good way, not in a bad way. One of my collaborators who I met in the BMI program, and we've known each other for a very, very long time. we, uh, were working on a musical adaptation of Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Oh my gosh, we started that almost 10 years ago. My goodness. We've put that aside since. But when we were working on that, I remember that he always put his sounds for the voice into the MIDI saxophone because it comes through clearly, and we weren't using saxophone. And now I do that. I still do that. I find it useful. I also hate the MIDI voice ahs. They're terrible. Just started working on a musical the other day called Nightfall. Ooh, a brand new show? Samuel? I love it. Is this based on something or is that an original of some variety? Also, I like the name, but I also like night and I like fall. So, and I apparently conjured fall yesterday and today in New York City. It's great. It's lovely. Makes me so excited. Here we are to August 1st. And it's fall. I'll take it. Anyway, so I use saxophone MIDI sound. What do y'all use? That's too slow. No, I don't know. When we put drums on this, maybe not. Mm-hmm. Ooh, yeah, this is better. Good. That pre-chorus slaps. That's good. That's great. Go me. That's all. I need to tell my collaborator because he may start working on this song. That's okay. All right. We are going to a different song. All right, what we got? No, it's like an original concept I'm coming up with. Nice! I love an original musical. They are so few and far between. Um, at least as they get produced all the way up to the Broadway level. Most things are adaptations, and I'm not mad about that. I think that's fine. I know a lot of people get up in arms about adaptations, but most of musical theater is an adaptation of some variety. Um, I get it when it comes to like the big name titles, like the Hollywood titles, where you're like, yeah, I know this movie has a fan base, but also like, why is it a musical now? Should it be? You know, those ones. But anyway, love an original. Congrats on starting a new show. I'm so curious to hear more, friends. What else are y'all working on? Oh no, I have to write an intro to this as well. Oh, painful. Okay. Okay. What does it sound like? Hmm. I cannot leave the voice hanging like that, can I? Ooh, that's satisfying. Do y'all talk to yourselves? Do y'all congratulate yourselves while you write? I do that. It's nice to remember what you like and what's working. Well, that sounds like an ending. And it's not an ending. Oh, I don't know what I want to do with the opening. So I come from film television, but my first passion has always been musical theater. I've been studying language about writing creating since the last few months. And you've learned a lot from me. I'm so glad. I'm glad to hear that. Um, that's what I hope to do for people is help them out, learn how to do the thing. But thank you for coming over from the we will pay you side to the dark side. I appreciate that. Thank you for coming over to theater. We love it. Um, Samuel, like an artistic representation of my personal of a person's life and the conflicting internal forces of light and darkness, which are represented with characters. Oh, fun. Mm, cool. I would love to learn more. Ah, yeah, you gotta come join the community. I want to know more about your stuffs. Come share. Come share your work. Come be with us. You don't gotta do anything, but that's how I feel. I want to know about your work. Dr. J&B, welcome back. Working on tightening up dialogue. Ooh. Mm, mm-hmm. Just doing that the other day. That would be, it was what is M after the name? E minor? Precisely. It is definitely E minor. No, I love that though. No, M's just another name I go by. E minor. Now, I'm gonna use that from now on. Thank you for that little gem, that nugget. All right. Can I leave the voice hanging? No. So we're gonna give it something else. Oh, I don't want to do the full chord chunking yet. Wait on that. Wait for the chord chunks. In case you've never spent time with me before, friends, I do truly sing everything. And I won't apologize. I don't want a voice double though. Oof. 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 Maybe counter melody? Let's play with a counter melody. I do not currently use Dorica. I use Sibelius still. The reason I use Sibelius currently is because I haven't had the space and time to truly dive in and learn Dorico yet. When I switch, I will switch to Dorico. But also Sibelius has made some good updates recently. I feel like Avid has felt the pressure of everyone leaving Finale and switching directly to Dorico and kind of skipping over Sibelius. I think they understood like, oh, we have let things slip a little bit. So there have been some good updates. I'm satisfied enough for the moment. So still using Sibelius, but I do look forward to the moment when I do switch over. Actually, I don't look forward to the moment. I look forward to being switched over. That's my thing. What's the name of the project you're working on right now, and what is it about? You're Sibelius in a previous life. Dorco isn't too bad. Yeah, Dorco. We I did a little mini series with my friend Julie Richardson, whose YouTube channel is finishing the score. We did a quick and dirty like if you need to switch to Dorico, friends, and you're musical theater writing, you just need to get started. We did 2 live stream like walkthrough things, one on my channel, one on her channel. So feel free to check those out as a quick start. And as we were going through, like I like Dorico, I like the interface, I like what it does. Um, I'll get there. I'll get there one day. As to what am I working on right now, what's it about? Working on 2 shows concurrently. One of them is called Twirl. Um, I won't say too much about that show at the moment. See, the tricky thing is I'm here with y'all, right? But my collaborators aren't. So I'm like, I don't know what they do and don't want me to say about shows at the moment publicly on a live stream. Um, but Twirl's the show I'm currently doing some things on. The other show is The Witching Hours. I can say more about that show. That's the one I was just tweaking the melody. The Witching Hours is. Oh, I don't have an official log line on this. I need one. But essentially, it is a punk pop score. Okay. But the show is about so many things. It's really about traumatic healing, making the choice to live fully and authentically. So it's like at the core, that's what it's about, but it's wrapped up in the frame of a punk concert that is taking place. Like you are in the concert. It's an 80-minute. It's a 1 act. Um, but like it's spooky. There's horror elements. There's witchcraft. It's a story about ancestry and traumatic healing and transness and punk and moving through darkness and embracing yourself. Yeah, I don't know. I'll come up with a long line eventually, but it's if you watched the song, Emmeline on the channel, either the one from the concert in February or the acoustic one I did a couple weeks ago. Last week? No, a couple weeks ago. That song is from The Witching Hours, so that's one of the other shows I'm working on. Let's play with the counter melody. Let's see what happens. Hmm. Hello, welcome. Yay! New viewers, new subscribers. Willkommen. Bienvenue, welcome. Where are you from? Hi, hello. This is I'm Michael Ratty, aka musical theater writer guy, and we're doing a Write With Me session. So whatever you're working on, whatever I'm working on, we're setting goals and writing for this hour. Well, the next 34 more minutes, and also chatting along the way. So welcome. Thank you for being here. What are you working on? And also, let's see if I like this counter melody. Maybe not. I want to. Well, I don't know. Here, let's find out. Nope, terrible. Hate it. Okay, that's not the answer. Ugh. I don't want to. Fine, we will adjust. From Argentina, found your channel a few days ago. Also searching for sources for writing, composing. Beautiful, wonderful. I'm so glad you found us. I say us like there's more than just me on the channel. It is just me on the channel, but all of us are a community, and that's nice too. Oh goodness, of course. I feel like the world could use a lot more kindness right now, and always, but especially right now. So, yeah, thank you for being here. You are very welcome with us. I'm always happy to meet new people. I'm not gonna like this either, am I? What's the solution, friends? Oh, we could play with that. That's true. Uh, 'Cause if we pull the ear in that direction, that keeps the prize for the second A. But I want to go lightly if we're doing it. Mm-hmm. 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 Where do we pull the punch? 6 bars full. Great. Great. It's gonna be great. We're gonna have a great time. Oh, hello. Sure. That's fun. Um, is the overture over? What overture? Which overture? I'm confused. Um, a lot more. I assume that was to the kindness idea. Yes, more kindness, please. Always. So much more kindness. Director J&B. Overture? What overture? Um, mm-hmm. Go see MTW perform Newsies yesterday. It was so good. MTW? What's MTW? Give me some details. Also, Newsies. So, fun fact, everybody. When I first moved to New York, you see, this is how you're going to learn more about my life. It's me doing these Write With Me sessions. It's like, what else are we doing? Well, we're writing. But what else are we doing to procrastinate besides talking? And I guess it's just my voice. Anyway, so when I first moved to New York in the fall of 2011, I was working I was working two places, a studio out on Long Island where I ended up working for a decade in various capacities, but my main gig was bartending in theaters, Broadway theaters. And I got a job working for, they were called Sweet Concessions back in the day, but Sweet Hospitality Group is how they are known now. And my home base theater was the New Amsterdam Theater, which is where Aladdin is. It's the Disney-owned theater. It's where Disney Theatrical has their offices. But at the time, Mary Poppins was on Broadway. And not gonna lie, I love that show. That show does not get enough credit. It is so well crafted. So good. Anyway, so I was working at the New Am on Le Broadway, and it was during a period of time when I was working there that Newsies was being advertised all the time because it was going to be not next door, across the street at the Nederlander, obviously another Disney property, and there was in the elevator of the New Am Theater, which you had to take up to get to any of the bars because you had a bar card. There was a television playing a very loud advertisement always. And as soon as Newsies was being announced publicly, the advertisement was the Newsies reel. I listened to the same Newsies songs sung by that lovely cast with all of the dancey movements once they had filmed some rehearsal and then some performances with the ripping of the paper and all the things for so long. It's like 8 months or 9 months of just the same less than 2 minute reel over and over and over. So whenever people bring up Newsies, I get a little like because just I will never listen to that score the same way again. It's so much, it's ingrained, but only like in little snippets. I think there were only 3 songs in that reel, less than 45 seconds of each of them. Ooh. Anyway, musical theater, Wichita. Oh, beautiful, wonderful. Hopefully it was good. Well, you said it was so good. Hopefully it was really great. It's a fun show to watch. I like all the dancing, the acrobatics. Those things are fun. Dr. JMB, we've lost the thread on overture. What was the overture? Define overture. Because I would define overture as something we don't use in musical theater anymore. Should we? Who's to say? I don't like that either. Okay. But if we do that instead, that might work. Maybe. Mm. Oh, yeah, in that way. Sure, yeah. Um, okay, yes, I do think the overture is essentially done. Uh, there's more to be said about that, though, because okay, so first and foremost, what was the purpose of an overture back in the day? Kind of a two-part function, right? Part one function was that theater culture was different. Not everyone was just like sitting in their seats at the top of when a show was going to start. That was not necessarily la culture. Mostly thank you to opera. The experience of seeing an opera is still actually way more relaxed in a lot of ways, right? Like we get long intermissions, depending on what show we're watching. Obviously, they do start on time and like they expect you in your seats and things, but like there was more of a culture to mingle, to see people, to talk. It wasn't always just about the show, right? So coming out of that culture into musical theater, having an overture begin to play does let people know who are in the lobby, like, show's gonna start, but like it hasn't started quite yet. So there is that function, which obviously we don't really need anymore. Most of the time, like, people are just in their seats ready to go, and if they're not, everyone in the row has to stand up, and it's so sad. So there's that, and then the other function of an overture being that this idea of priming the ear for what you're about to hear, which I think is so interesting. Looking backwards at musical theater's canon, it feels like do we just not trust our audiences to understand the music as it arrives and be surprised by it and delighted by it? But I guess early on in book musicals, they really didn't. They didn't know if people would be able to follow the story. Musical theater moves fast. There's a lot of songs, a lot of motifs. So introducing themes in the overture before people heard it kind of like allowed the audience to be like, oh, yes, I've heard this before. Therefore, I can sit back and listen to the words. Because musical theater is a story first art form, it's a words first art form. Um, Meaning like opera's the music first art form. But the that function doesn't seem necessary anymore. But I do think that the overture has been replaced by something adjacent, which I used in The King's Legacy as well, which is a prologue. If you have a lot of music and you want to prime the ear to the sound of the score or to certain motifs or to certain melodies, or even just give like an atmospheric high, this is the world you're in sort of idea, I think a prologue can be used really well to do similar functions to what an overture used to do. So, for instance, in The King's Legacy, the prologue really kind of walks you through the entire history of what's going to happen in the show. And as it does so, it uses themes, musical themes and motifs from throughout the show that you will hear later on fully fleshed out. And they're tucked in there to the point where, like, if you're watching the show for the first time, you're not going to know any of that going in. But if you've heard the show before, you might pick up on some of those things that are in the prologue and be like, oh, it's that. So it can be a nice primer still. Uh, I'm not opposed to a primer. It depends. Like, how much info are you throwing at your audience and how fast? Anyway, yes, I do think the overture's dead. um, we got some comments in here. Samuel, so I'm working on my show, but having a bit of difficulty fleshing out the plot line. What advice would you have for completely planning and fleshing out a story? The Book and Beyond course is entirely that. So I do have a process I use for this. Which is whether it's for the whole drafting process, whether you're going into a first draft and you're planning and going into a first draft, or you are going into a rewrite and you are revisiting the planning and going deep into the process again. It is the process of the Book and Beyond course, which is also going to be included in the book I'm writing and the video courses I'm doing for the collective. So if you want the full thing, come take the live course with me. We start again in September. It's 12 weeks. It's great. That being said, what I would suggest is starting as zoomed out as you possibly can. If you've not yet downloaded the North Star question sets and answered those, please do so. Y'all, I understand the internet is loud and busy. I get it. But that, and like we all sign up for things and get on people's newsletters to get a free thing, a PDF, a download, those sorts of things. This is not a BS PDF. This is literally the 6 sets of questions that I developed into these sets in this order because it was helping. I was getting lost on my shows, and I found that as I worked on my own pieces and watched other people work on their pieces, and I helped other people with their pieces, these were the questions that needed to be answered up front. So download the North Star PDF, North Star Question Sets PDF, answer those questions first. That's going to help provide as much clarity as you possibly can as you go through your writing process. Now from there, without going too in depth on this, I would say start with your major story tent poles. Like, what are the 7 to 16 things that are the plot line and character moments holding up your entire piece? Then begin to fill in what happens between those tent poles. Then begin to flesh it out from there into a fuller outline. I'd also go through the process of tiering out your characters, like who's an A tier character, a B, a C, what's the difference in those plots as well. So you can keep an eye on that, but create a deep outline first and then begin to tuck in the rest of the info. I mean, ideally at the end of an outlining process, if you're a deep outliner, like I usually am, not always, but usually, you should be able to have a full outline of your entire show where you can use therefore and but between all of your story beats, and it makes perfect logical sense moving through, at least in terms of emotional arc. So that would be my strongest advice: is answer those North Star question sets, start as zoomed out as possible, then begin to fill in the details and the song spotting. Carrie, as a writer, lyricist, librettist, is it offensive to use AI software to help me create rough drafts / musical roadmaps for my composer, just to give them an idea of what I am looking for? Is this done? Ha. Use AI software to help me create rough draft musical roadmaps. Can you talk to me about what a musical roadmap is? What you mean by that? Um, I think it is all, well, always just talk to your collaborators, see what they like and what they don't like, and communicate is my best advice I could give for anything in terms of collaboration ever. Is just know how each other likes to communicate and then communicate and ask these questions. Um, is it offensive to give a collaborator something they didn't ask for or give permission to be given? Yeah, I think that's kind of rude, because if you're working together, and they didn't ask for it, or they don't want it, it means you didn't communicate, and that's a little rude. As far as like using the use of AI being rude, I've gotten on a soapbox about this before, but I won't today. I strongly think that AI is a tool to be used smartly and lightly with great intention if you're going to use it at all, and not as a way to fill in for skills you don't have. So I guess I don't really know what the musical roadmap is, but that's my initial answer. General idea of the sound you're looking for. Oh, better than that, than using AI by far, is to just say, hey, it's like these songs, and send them a list of songs. Like, this is the sound I'm thinking of. Usually I describe it to my collaborators like, okay, well, I mean, often I'm writing the music, but not always. Be like, okay, so here are the types of sounds I'm thinking, these kinds of instruments, this kind of feel, this kind of atmosphere, and then I will usually ask, like, do you want some song examples? And they usually say yes, and then I just say some song examples, and they're like, I don't know those. I will send them to them or play them for them. Be like, this is the type of world, the type of sound. And I think it's always good to triangulate, like give 3 songs that feel like they are adjacent to the sound or similar to the sound, so the composer really gets to understand. I think that's honestly way more effective than using AI, and doesn't hurt the planet and steal art from people who actually compose. Wait, okay, won't step on the soapbox. Not gonna do it. If the theater doesn't have a pit, where can the orchestra go? Oh, so many places. It can be. I've seen pits be placed in some wild places and some non-wild places. So if you don't have a pit, well, I guess how big is the orchestra is a question. in big theatrical places like the Broadway, I have seen Broadway shows where the pit is in an entirely different room. They're in a different space. And so there's a live feed occurring from the conductor in a different space that the actors can see. But the pit is in a whole different room being piped in, essentially. So there's that. Um, Reducing the size of an orchestra and having them on stage is always an option. So, like, first time we did King's Legacy, we had a three-piece. We had a clarinet, flute, doubler, a cello, and a piano player, and they were on stage. They were kind of tucked in the back, like they weren't super visible, but they were on stage with us because there was no pit space in that theater. There's always also the option of offstage space if it's available, wing space, or is the set built in a way where there's space behind the set where the pit can be. I've done that before, like as a musician. Um, I've also seen the pit raised up above the stage. I've seen that, like, okay, platform, and they are literally on top of the playing space. I've seen that. I've also seen the pit up on the sides, like elevated on side platforms, where it's a little tougher to see the MD necessarily. Well, it depends, but I've seen them there, seen them tucked up in balconies. I've seen partially the seats of the theater taken over for instrumentalists to sit in or to be in that space. Lots of different ways you could do this. I've also seen the orchestra spread out throughout the theater. But usually that's more of an actor-musician show. 16 low budget. 16 low budget? Low budget is 16? I want that budget. That's a high budget for me. Okay, low budget 16. All right, 16's a lot. Yeah, I'd say if there's a separate space to be piped in, that's great. Or elevation is probably the other main option. Or even being a part of the set, I've seen as well. If there is offstage space, that's great. There just usually isn't. Wing space is hard to come by, friends. Often hard to come by. I don't know if any of that's useful. Volunteers. Hmm. Bless volunteers. That's wonderful. I'm jealous. That's fantastic. These are good questions here, friends, today. Very good questions. I'm not getting much writing done. They're great questions. Hopefully you all are getting writing done. Yeah, I want to walk up. But that's more fun. Let's do that. Better. The belly's just twitched out. Do that instead. Yes. Yes is the answer. My composer's never written musical theater. They come from the hip hop pop music industry. That's why I thought this would help them. Yeah, I still think just have them listen to musical theater stuff. Uh, Also, yeah, it makes me wonder what kind of musical style is there to this show? Are you utilizing their strengths as a hip hop slash pop music writer, producer, whatever it is that they're doing? Because like those are common sounds in musical theater these days. They work. They're great. But like as far as typical standard musical theater sound, eh, that might be more of a big jump, a leap of some variety. But yeah, I think just like sit down together, listen to a bunch of stuff. So with the pop punk musical I'm writing, my collaborator and I literally sat on that couch in there for like 4 hours and just listened to a whole bunch of punk. Things that we like, that interest us, that we potentially want to use, see what we share in common, what we don't share in common, just like getting a sense of the palette we want to use. It's a great thing to do. It's certainly not a waste of time. That's all. Helps everyone be on the same page. Did I need that little gesture? No, but I liked it. Can we just do it? Maybe? Ugh, clearly, I'm not convinced. What did I just do? That's what I did. Great. Oh, you're very welcome, Carrie. Yeah, I mean, hopefully my advice is helpful. I always hope that for people. I'm not just saying things that aren't useful, but you never know. Hmm. Think we should. Yes. But that needs a movement, doesn't it? It does. Yep. But are we doing that? Or that's more fun. I like that one better. Uno mas. Then we're into it. Okay. Mm. This is a hard one, 8 bars, everybody. Okay. Still needs an intro, but that's okay. It's fine. What is the line before? What is line before? I don't remember. I'll have to look it up. By the way, friends, if you weren't here earlier when I mentioned the songwriting challenge next week, just a reminder, sign up for that. Free, totally free. Starts next week, Wednesday. It'll be live here on the YouTubes with me. And Friday, Monday, and the following Wednesday will also be live, but they're going to be on Zoom. So if you want the link set and the links to the replays, just in case you're not available at those times, then you should sign up with your email to make sure you get all the emails with all the stuff. Also, make sure that when emails come in, like if you're looking for an email from me because you signed up for something, if you're not finding it, go to your spam folder and mark it as not spam. That's useful. Or just add the email address to your contacts. That's useful too. But it's going to be a great challenge. We're going to talk all about how to make a great musical theater song. What the different pieces of that are, and then we're actually going to do it. We're going to write one. So you'll be writing a song across the following weekend, and we'll do feedback moments, and you can be in the Zoom room with me, and then I can see your faces and hear your voices. Not that the chit chat isn't also great. It is also great, but make sure to sign up for that. Link is in the description below. I'll also put a comment after this is done as well. Not all those ideas down. Thank you. I'm considering building a pop-up stage in a warehouse. Oh, I am director. You are now speaking my language. I am such a fan of pop-up spaces, of turning things that are not theaters into theaters. Oh, it lights me up. I look at every space and I'm like, oh, this could be a theater. Like just walking down the street, I'm like, look, a theater. Is it a theater? Could be a theater. How would I make it a theater? Ooh, what kind of things would I put in here? Like, what kind of thing would I want to stage? So, yes, I'm here with you. So here with you. Also, I love like going to New York spaces, being like, this was not a theater, and now it is. That's cool. Recently saw Bo the musical off Broadway down at out of the box theatrics space that they're about to leave because they're moving uptown. They're moving to the what's it called? Theater 46 or 46th Street Theater, something like that. It's the one on 46 that looks like a church. They're taking over that space. But anyway, their original space here. First of all, Bo the musical was so good. I didn't know what to expect, and it was so good. Oh, I really hope it transfers to Broadway. I think it could. I know it's an intimate type show, but we've done it before. We've done it before on Broadway, and it feels ready. It feels great. I walked away. I'll get back to the space in a second. I walked away, and when I called my parents to just like gush about it, because I do that sometimes, I said I have no notes. I often, when I'm watching a show, have a writing note. Even Broadway shows, I often have writing notes where I'm like, oh, that could have been cut or tightened, or I need clarity on this, please. um, but with Bo, I didn't have notes. None. That was great. Feels ready for Broadway to me. Really hope some producers pick that up and put it on Broadway. Like, really, really, really hope. Anyway, so the space, I walked into this building. I was like, is this the right building? It's over by the river. Uh, the Village? I think it's the Village. And big brick building, older building, with a lot of like very commercial businesses that I could see. And then in the open doors, little paper signs said, oh, Bo the musical this way. And you walk into this essentially like office park building, like a New York City version of an office park building. You go down the stairs and just like going through the basement area to a space that they clearly converted into a theater. And I loved the space. Actually, I still love the space. I asked them afterwards. I was like, hey, who's taking over this space after y'all leave? Apparently, there's no one yet who is taking over the space. So maybe this is my petition. Let's raise money, friends. Let's do it. Musical Theater Writing Collective takes over the space in New York. And we put on all original musicals. I'm in. You in? We need an investor. We need a couple investors. Got some angel investors? Let's do it. Let's buy a theater, everybody. Oh God, I love spaces that were not theaters being turned into theaters. Even the theater I worked at for 10 years in upstate New York, Bristol Valley Theater, where there's an actor, musical director, and a writer. They produced two of my shows. They are in a church that was converted into a theater. I love it so much. I don't know why that lights my heart up so much. Anyway, oh my goodness, look, I talked us to the end. My apologies, friend. We are at the end of the hour. I did accomplish 8 bars, and I did tweak that melody of the other song, so I did some
Mhm.
things. Hopefully, you got some things done too. And I hope to see you all for the songwriting challenge next week on Wednesday. Make sure to sign up for that. Again, I'll pin a comment as well. I hope to see your names in the chat on Wednesday when we're live on YouTube and see your faces in the Zoom room with me on Friday, Monday, and Wednesday. So I hope y'all have a. What's the cost to buy that theater? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what they're selling it for. I don't know who's even selling it. Like, does Out of Box Theatrics own it? I don't know. You'd have to look it up. It's a great question though, and I should actually probably pursue that just to find out. Anyway, so I hope to see you all next week. Thank you for being here with me today. I hope you get some wonderful writing done, and I will see your faces hopefully very soon. All right. Have a great weekend.